won't be getting out of here alive.
The hell? Is that a Zoogle? Everyone, be careful.
That thing is huge! Looks like we've got our work cut out for us.
Salve, salve rapaziada, tudo bom com vocês? Sejam bem-vindos a mais um vídeo aqui no canal. Quem fala com vocês é o Mailton. E isso aí, rapaziada, vamos para mais um vídeo de Tales of Arise. Esse aqui é o episódio 24, 25. Bom, enfim, não importa muito, né? No episódio passado a gente enfrentou um boss bem gigante, né? Que foi o Ifrit Malum. Não tem HP, não mostrou quanto ele tem de HP. Cara, na verdade eu não gostei muito dessa luta, porque a gente não enfrentou ele assim, ele no caso, né, a gente enfrentou os mobs dele, né, o que eu não gostei muito, tá ligado? Não sei se foi uma luta assim contra ele, entendeu? Mas, né, a proposta do game é assim, né, é uma das 4 luzes, ou seja, a gente eliminou aquela planta, né, que é a Eugerânia, né, que seria do vento, aí o Ifrit seria o do fogo, aí tá faltando o da água e o da água e o da terra, eu acho que é isso, né, que no caso seria o Silpete, aquele bicho que tá lá no topo daquela torre, e um outro que tá lá naquele santuário, né? Eu acho que é um daqueles lá. Mas enfim, vamos continuar aqui. Agora a gente vai estar indo pra lá, né? A gente vai pegar a nave do Alpha, né? Que ele veio pra Terra aqui, né? Há 300 anos atrás, né? E a gente vai pra lá. Provavelmente a gente já tá bem, acho que já passamos da metade do game, né? Tem alguns chefes aqui nessa parte do mapa aqui que a gente não consegue eliminar ainda por causa do nosso nível, né? Ali a gente consegue ver a cidade, né? Ganati Haros, assim que acho que eu chamo, né? Que é a do Voron, né? Mas enfim, vamos lá, vamos pegar a nave aqui e vamos ver como que vai ser lá em cima, né? Tô bem curioso. Já fizemos tudo que podia ter feito aqui. E vamos lá.
Well, it's the moment of truth.
This lady better hold together once we're up in the air.
Law, don't say that. You're going to jinx us.
Speaking of which, Alphen, this bucket of bolts got a name?
A name? You know, I'm not sure she ever had one. I never really thought about it.
Well, after all the trouble we went through to find her, we should give her one, right? I was thinking something like...
Fall Knights.
Huh?
It means owl in the ancient tongue. Literally, the one drawn to the skies.
I like it. Sounds perfect for our little escapade.
Not sure I'm completely convinced, but... well, it's as good a name as any. From now on, she'll be known as the Fall Knights.
Fall Knights.
Okay, people. We have 2 goals. First, we need to get to Lenegis and make the Renans finally leave Dana alone. And then, we need to figure out the truth behind Shion's thorns and find a way to save her. Sound good? Alright, then let's go.
Sem música copyright, pelo amor de Deus, viu? E essa tecnologia aí, Star Wars. Olha. Caralho. Vapo. Game de navinha?
You know, I can still hardly believe it.
Believe what?
I mean, just look at it. The whole of existence, crammed inside a tiny frame.
Now that you mention it, I guess you're right. It does look more like a painting than a living, breathing world.
From up here, all the struggles we've been through feel so insignificant.
Nothing like realizing how small you are to put everything into perspective. Kinda makes the differences between the Renans and the Danans feel pretty small too, huh?
How much longer until we reach Lenegis?
There are better ways to use your time than napping. We should take a moment to familiarize ourselves with the facilities on board before arrival.
Good idea. The starship may end up serving as our base of operations once we're down there. Think you'll be all right with the controls?
You mean the one set to automatic pilot? I dare say I'll manage. I'm basically just here to supervise.
In that case, she's all yours.
O grupo se separou.
Everything okay, Shion? You seem a little different.
Different? Like in a bad way different?
No, not at all. You seem more driven lately, like you found a zest for life. It suits you.
Então a gente pode andar pela nave então. Cara, a nave parece tão... Nossa, que da hora. É, aqui dá pra ver que o espaço tá meio, né? Tá legal, né? Mas tudo bem. A gente entende, né? A ideia não é essa.
We'll be going to Lenegis soon.
This must feel like a homecoming of sorts to you, huh? What was life on Lenegis like back then? You know, before you came to Dana.
Let's just say, I don't have many happy memories. I've had thorns my whole life. They called it treatment. But in truth, they were just using me as a guinea pig for their research.
You mean, they experimented on you?
That's right. All I was to them was a riddle to solve. They poked and prodded me, trying to figure out what triggered my thorns or changed the form they took. Day in and day out, every single day, one test after another. The look they gave me whenever one of them touched my skin. How could I forget it? Reeling from the pain, like I was a monster or something. Some existence, huh? A blight on any I touched. Helplessly complicit in their pain. I thought things couldn't get any worse. But then they did. I started to have nightmares. Is it any wonder I lacked a cheery disposition? Unable to so much as touch another soul. Loneliness was my best friend. Sure, I survived, but with the knowledge that one day I'd be swallowed up by oblivion. And that's when it hit me. If I was going to die, then it should mean something. If I have to sacrifice myself to save the world, so be it.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you relive that.
No, it's fine.
You say it's your destiny to die so that others can live. But why not the other way around? Why shouldn't we be the ones dying to save you?
Are you crazy? Why would you sacrifice your life for...
That's exactly my point. Why should you have to give up your life just because you drew the short straw in the destiny stakes? How is that even right? It's that logic that's used to justify slavery, as if some of us were just meant to be sacrificed. This struggle was never about saving only ourselves. But that doesn't mean we have to give up our own lives to save everyone else's either. If we're doing this to protect people, if we're doing this to save the world from destruction, then that has to include saving each other as well.
A world free of sacrifice. That's what you've been fighting for all along, isn't it?
Not just me. We're in this together, remember? This fight is yours too, Shion. If we're going to win, everyone has to win. There can be no room for losers in this fight. Now I see it. The true nature of our struggle.
A victory without losers. But that means that a Danon victory over Rena can't be the end. Do you think we can pull it off?
You bet we can pull it off. We have to. It's the only hope we have of things ever changing.
Yeah, you're right. No one's ever changed the future without aiming for the stars. We can do this. Together.
Tá bom, né? Bastante conversa. Vamos conversar com os pessoal lá atrás primeiro. Depois eu converso aqui. Vou conversar com o LOL. Os dois, né?
Hey, Alvin, listen to this! So Law and I were just talking and...
Hey, shut up!
What's got Law all flustered?
Only that he's afraid of flying, the big baby. And after all that fuss he made about naming the ship, too.
Hey, I never said I was scared. I just think it's, you know, a little unsettling how we're going to be cruising through space in a glorified tin can. That's...
It's a starship, dummy. That's what it's supposed to do. I don't think there's anything strange about it.
Well, maybe you're the one with the problem then.
Guys. I'm no expert, but I think we can trust Renin technology. It got me to Dana in one piece, remember?
Oh, that's a good point. If you think so, Alphen, it must be okay. Don't you agree, Law?
Hard to argue with that, seeing how you hitched a ride in one of these things before, Alphen.
Ó, cadê aqui, Zara? Caramba, que nave grande, mano. Aqui é o elevador. Aqui, Zara tá aqui. Que é isso aqui? Nada.
You okay? Feeling airsick?
Actually, now that you mention it, not at all. These starships are a remarkably smooth ride, all things considered. Nothing like being at sea, thank goodness.
Glad to hear it. That device there caught your eye, huh?
I was just wondering what it is. It looks big enough to fit a person inside of it.
It's a healing pod. It fixes injuries and illnesses.
Oh, you don't say. That should definitely come in handy if any of us get injured while we're down there. Alphen? Was it something I said?
No, I was just thinking back to when I escaped Lenegis, that's all. What with the ceremony and losing control, I was a total mess. Naori laid me inside here.
So, you're saying you got in this thing straight after escaping? Would that mean you were inside for 300 years?
Yes, it sounds crazy, I know. But don't even ask me why I stayed asleep all that time.
That's definitely quite some lie-in, all right. But still, whether you meant to or not, I sure am glad that it's this century that you finally woke up in.
What do you mean?
With the amount of fighting we've done, we would have never made it this far without you. And not only that, but... Alphen, can you recall back to what it is that I said to you? Back when we left Menancia? About the dream of coexistence, and needing to learn what it entailed?
Of course. That's why you came with us, right? To learn what you couldn't at home.
Even in that time, I was well aware that what I was living was a lie. But at the same time, I also felt really compelled to fulfill my brother's wishes. I'll always remember him fondly. But the coexistence we're fighting for isn't for him. It's for people now, and those still to come. The world's bigger than just Menancia. My dream is for all Danans, wherever they might be. If I've learned anything on this journey, it's that. And the one who brought me along was you, Alphen. I'll forever be grateful to you.
Well, we're not out of this forest just yet. You should probably save your thanks. At least, until we've dealt with the Red Woman.
I know. But whatever we find when we get down there, I'm through looking the other way.
Kisara.
Probably getting a little ahead of myself, huh? Let's take things one step at a time.
Verdade, né? Tá, vamos falar com o Dolarinho agora.
Is something wrong?
No. I was merely thinking how it had been 7 years, that's all.
You mean since you became a lord and left Lenegis? I guess even someone like you can get homesick, huh?
I am as prone to sentimentality as any other. Tell me though, you too have a history with Lenegis. A traumatic one, no less. This trip will probably mean facing up to some difficult emotions. Doesn't that frighten you?
Well, it is a place where I took the lives of countless people. I'd be lying if I said I hadn't thought about it. But I can't keep running forever. The past is what it is. There's no changing that. But the future's what we make it.
I see.
Dohalim?
Forgive me. I was wrong to pry. We have more pressing matters to address. Come back and speak to me when you finish looking around the ship.
Tá bom. Vou falar com ele aqui.
Is everyone about ready? We'll soon be making preparations to land.
Before we do that, just what exactly should we expect when we get down there?
Kisara has a point. Now that I think of it, I don't know the first thing about Lenegis.
I'd like to hear more too. It's been centuries since I was last there, and they didn't exactly give me the grand tour.
Very well. First and foremost, Lenegis was the base of operations in charge of the crown contest on Dana. Of course, it also happens to be a city in its own right, complete with its own independent society. Its social structure is based on a strict hierarchy. Put simply, the strength of an individual's astral arts carries great weight.
Enough to determine someone's social rank, you mean? But astral arts are innate, right? So people's positions are fixed at birth.
They can be honed with the right training, and there are admittedly other factors at play. But yes, that's basically the gist. As a result, family lines that churn out lords and their contenders wield disproportionate influence, and those lineages are treated as nobility.
Those capable of only weak astral arts are effectively an underclass, denied the right to descend to Dana even if they wanted to. Still, even the lowest rung on the Renin ladder is considered superior to being a Danan. Keep that in mind down there.
Thanks for the warning. As a lord, Dohalim must have been pretty high up in the pecking order, right? What about you, Shion?
Come on, you've seen her skill with astral arts. You really need to ask?
On arts alone, you're right. I'd have been sitting pretty. But you're forgetting my thorns. They weren't exactly an invitation to high society.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's refreshing to be around someone who says what they're thinking. Life's less complicated that way.
Jeez, give backhanded compliments much?
Wait a second. Are you? He is! Law's blushing!
I am not!
Of course, separating people into castes based on something arbitrary like arts is discrimination at its worst. As if such simplistic criteria could ever be a measure of someone's worth.
So this red woman, are we expecting to find her on Lenegis?
I would wager so. Lenegis is too deeply involved in all this to discard the possibility. Chances are she's also connected to the Renis Alma being stolen from us in Pelegion.
If the Renis Alma is being used to exploit Dana, we need to take it back at all costs.
That red woman's got a lot to answer for. Just as well I've got a ton of questions.
We're about to land. The descent could be a little bumpy, so brace yourselves.
If there are clues about your thorns out there, Shion, we'll find them.
Olha que da hora, velho. Caramba, hein? Que sistema, hein? Vai ter treta aqui? Claro, sempre tem, né?
There's no one here. I wasn't expecting a welcome mat, but still.
Lenegis's infrastructure is largely automated. Besides, people won't be expecting incoming traffic while the crown contest is still underway.
Do you think anyone realizes that we're here?
We may not have received a royal welcome, but I doubt our entrance went unnoticed. Don't let your guard down.
I really hope we don't have to fight anybody while we're here.
So now what? We've come all this way on a hunch that this red woman is here, right? And if we're lucky, the Renis Alma too. Any idea where we should start looking?
There is an area of the city that is accessible only to the Sovereigns, known as the Forbidden Zone. That seems as good a place as any for us to start.
Forbidden? What are they hiding?
I don't know, hence my desire to find out. Fortunately, we just so happen to have a Sovereign in our midst. In any case, changing the shape of a huge structure such as Lenegis would have required an immense source of power.
Then you think that source might have been the Renis Alma?
Precisely. Alphen said that he remembered the Renis Alma being used in the spirit channeling ceremony 3 centuries ago. Whatever the ceremony's purpose, if preparations are underway for it to be held once more, then the Renis Alma might be in the same place as last time, possibly together with the Red Woman. Hiding something of that worth in the residential quarters would only court trouble. In which case...
It stands to reason we should be looking somewhere normally out of bounds. Is that it?
Indeed.
But it's been over 300 years since I was made a sovereign. You can't seriously think I'll be able to waltz right into the place after all this time.
There's only one way to find out. If there's even a chance you can get us in, I say we give it a shot.
Shion's right. Who knows? We might even find a clue to her thorns while we're at it.
All right. It's not like we're swimming in leads, so let's try to track down the Forbidden Zone.
Os membros que saíram retornaram ao grupo.
Beyond that wall lies a city full of Renins.
Thinking about what could be lurking out here is giving me the heebie-jeebies.
For such a loudmouth, you sure can be a worrywart at times.
Oh, I'm sorry. How stupid of me for wanting us to stay safe.
Would you two children stop squabbling? Or do you want everyone to know we're here?
So how many Renins actually live in this place?
I couldn't tell you exactly, though not as many as you might expect. Machines and Zeugles take care of most of the city's basic functions.
There's Zeugles out here too, huh? Sounds like we can't afford to let our guard down after all.
Então vamos lá. O que é isso aqui? Vulcão de Berg. Ah tá, a gente pode voltar lá. Tá, beleza. Caramba, hein? Olha o planeta Terra. Top, hein? Ele tá girando? Não, né? Não. A Terra é plana? E aí? A Terra é plana? Não, né? Pelo menos não aqui no jogo, né? Bom, depois de 20 minutos de pura conversa, vamos começar o jogo. Antes da gente começar, rapaziada, se você puder se inscrever no canal aí, deixar aquele like aí, eu agradeço pra caramba aí, beleza? Vai me ajudar bastante aí com o crescimento do canal aí, vai ajudar também na divulgação aí dos vídeos aí, vai chegar pra mais gente tá assistindo aí. Agradeço muito aí por quem tem acompanhado aí todos os vídeos aí, e com certeza eu vou trazer muito mais, até quando eu puder, né? Aqui tem alguma coisa não, né? Então vamos lá. Mano, olha que arquitetura, né, velho? Fantástica, cara. Lenegis. A cidade tá na merda, hein? Caramba, eu achei que a cidade ia estar mais de boa. Tá bem na merda, pelo visto.
What in the world?
This being Renin territory, this is a bit more than I anticipated.
The very foundations of the city have shifted. What could have caused this?
When Lenegis changed shape, it must have had an effect on the interior too.
Maybe when they sent the wedge down to Dana?
But they wouldn't move around the places where people live. These are their homes, right?
I would think the citizens themselves didn't have much say in the matter. Either way, locating the Forbidden Zone just became that much trickier.
Dohalim? Is that you?
Avakir, I'm glad to see you're well.
So it is you! But why are you here? Shouldn't you be down on Dana participating in the crown contest? And these people.
So you haven't heard what happened on Dana, then?
Heard what?
Someone you know?
An old friend.
Hey, Dohalim. Don't tell me you've started keeping company with...
They're with me. More importantly, what's happened here?
I'm really not sure. The city's foundations began to shift without warning, and now everything looks like this. We're all waiting for the Sovereign to tell us what's happening, but so far...
Avakir, listen to me. We're looking for the Forbidden Zone. Do you have any idea where we might find it?
The Forbidden Zone? What business could you possibly have there?
Trust me. The less you know, the better.
You're just the same as ever. I wish I could help, but what with the changed topography, I can barely locate my own home. Let alone the Forbidden Zone.
Very well. It looks like we'll have to find the way there ourselves.
Have you seen Faria yet?
No.
I see. Well, nothing much has changed with her. If anything, she's probably even more...
I can well imagine.
Why did you come back? You know it can only result in pain for you both.
I've no doubt of that.
You really are the same as ever. Fine, I understand. Just don't say I didn't warn you. And take care of yourself. Okay, Do?
So who's Faria?
Law?
If what Avakir said is true, it would seem the people of Lenegis are being kept in the dark about what's happening down on Dana.
They seem to be just as clueless about what's going on up here in their own world. Despite the fact that it's actually here that the wedge originally came from.
We need more information. Let's talk to the citizens, see what we can find out.
While we're at it, we can ask them about the Red Woman, too.
And don't forget about finding the way to the Forbidden Zone either.
Let's leave the talking to Shion. We can't have a bunch of Danans poking their noses around.
Good idea. I think that's for the best.
I shall assist.
You sure?
Being a lord on Lenegis has its advantages.
Right. Then we'll leave it to you two. The Danans among us should probably keep our heads down.
What if people freak out?
I shall explain it away by saying I'm leading you.
What are we, dogs?
What could be so important? It's worth destroying people's livelihoods and homes in the process. It's just... unbelievable. Uprooting an entire city as if it were mere building blocks.
From how it looks, they must be siphoning off astral energy from Dana.
But why do all this? What for? Surely they can't be using all that energy for the crown contest.
Whatever their purpose, disrupting their siphoning process alone won't be sufficient. Not while we still don't know what their endgame is.
He's right. We need to stop this from happening ever again.
This Forbidden Zone might be where we find some answers, right? So what are we waiting for? Let's get moving!
You heard him. You don't have time to stop and
Caramba, quanta conversa, velho.
So, I've been wondering, do you think when Lenegis was built, it was even made with people living here in mind?
What do you mean?
Well, none of this happened by coincidence, right? They must have designed it to transform like this. But then, if they knew people were going to live here, you'd think they would have taken that into consideration.
Ordinarily, yes. You'd think so. Trust me, as far as we were concerned, Lenegis was our home, nothing more. Nope, it makes you wonder whether the city was just built on as an afterthought. But if so...
Sorry. That probably sounded weird, huh?
Not at all. Sometimes it takes an outsider's eye to help you notice what you've been missing all along. This place is a mystery, that's for sure. Something tells me we'll find answers where we're going, though.
Yeah, you're right, Shion. I'm sure we will.
Eu tô achando que essa cidade aqui não passa de uma isca, né? De um objeto que eles estão usando por usar, entendeu? Porque pelo jeito que tá acontecendo aqui, nem os cidadãos da cidade aqui sabem, né? Bom, vamos lá, vamos perguntar, conversar com as pessoas aqui. A linha para Lenegis, o distrito residencial está caindo aos pedaços. Tá, nada. Um mapa até que relativamente grande. Olha, usando uma arte de cura. Tiozinho aqui. Tem um baú ali. Morango. O maluco fazendo umas macumba ali embaixo. Olha esse tiozinho aqui.
Oh, dear me. What an unspeakable mess this has all become. Just look at the state of our city. Even the Zugals have stopped heeding our commands. Whatever did we do to deserve this?
You really have no clue what might have caused this?
Would that I have. Alas, there was no warning, no prior decree. His Highness must have deemed it unnecessary for us to know. We have no choice but to grin and bear it. But do my eyes deceive me? Could I really be standing in the presence of his lordship, Dohalim of the House Ilkaris? I believed he was on Dana.
Your eyes do not deceive you. It is I, one and the same. I have returned to fulfill a special duty, the details of which I cannot divulge.
As your lordship wishes. First Lenegis mutates beyond recognition, now this unexpected visit. The Sovereign's plans are inscrutable indeed. The Ilkaris house has produced a great many lords over the centuries. I shall be praying for your victory in the latest crown contest.
Your good wishes do me an honor.
Tá bom, né? Tem um soldado. Goma de laranja. Parfait fino.
Everything will be okay now.
I know the basics of healing arts, but my skill...
Your lordship! Oh, what a great honor it is to finally meet you. I descended to Dana during the last crown contest also. Alas, when the contender I was backing failed to clinch the title, I returned. I witnessed the deaths of so many slaves.
Indeed.
Sorry to interrupt, but we're looking for a woman dressed all in red. Have you seen anyone of that description?
All red, eh? No, I can't say I remember anyone like that. I imagine she'd stand out somewhat, too.
Yeah. What about down on Dana during the crown contest? You didn't see anyone like that hanging around the lord you were serving?
What's with all these questions? I've never seen her, okay? Not recently or otherwise. Why do you want to find her anyway?
Never mind. Forget I asked. Sorry to take up your time.
Tá um mistério, tá um mistério, um mistério misterioso.
Is everything okay? You look a little lost.
Hmm? Oh, yes. I can't seem to find my way home is all. I was just about to make my umpteenth attempt at a new route.
I was hoping to head this way myself. The situation is a real pain, huh?
I suppose the Sovereign knows best. I daren't stay here too long, though. A lower caste can only linger around these parts for so long before I outstay my welcome. I was hoping to avoid it, but maybe I'll have to go that way after all.
You mean you know another way round?
Lord Dohalim Ilkaris! But how? Last I heard, you were in Dana competing in the crown contest.
Yes, strange, isn't it? If you know another route, we'd be grateful if you could tell us.
But of course. Please forgive me. There's a wall that sprung up ahead of here, with what looks to be an entrance in it. I thought maybe it was a passageway between the different quarters, but I've no way of knowing for sure.
It's worth investigating, at least. I shall go and assess the situation. In the meantime, wait for me here. If it looks safe, I'll come and let you know.
You'd really do that for me? A lord troubling himself for someone of my lowly status?
Our lot in life is of little consequence. We are both Renan, first and foremost.
Oh, why yes, my lord. Thank you.
Well, we've canvassed the city for information. What do you think?
No one has the faintest idea what's happened to the city after all. They haven't heard the news about the crown contest either.
You'd think that info would easily find its way up here. Has it always been like that?
Not to this extent. Which would indicate that something's suppressing the truth. That Lenegis is under some kind of control.
Given everything that's happened to their city, the people here seem weirdly okay with it all.
Yeah, that one guy even said his Zoogle had stopped listening to him. If that's true, these people are in big trouble.
Everything that happens here is attributed to the Sovereign's will. It's the way people have been conditioned. Their belief runs deep. Nothing happens devoid of a reason. To them, it's all part of the Sovereign's grand plan.
The Sovereign's plan. There is one thing I'm still not sure about. Just who is this person ruling over Lenegis?
The Sovereign, of course. He rules from Rena while presiding over both Rena and Lenegis.
Without the lords or anyone in the middle doing his dirty work? That's a pretty big dominion for one person to rule over. I would have thought ruling Lenegis alone would be difficult enough.
The points you make are valid, though I confess I'd never given it much thought before. Here, the Sovereign's total authority is as natural as night turning to day. Come to think of it, I know nothing of the nature of how Rena itself is. Shion, have you ever been... No, forgive me. Have you met or crossed paths with, or even heard of someone who's actually made a visit to the homeland?
No, I haven't.
Neither have I. In which case, I would imagine that... But no, surely not. Can it really be that no citizen of Lenegis has ever been there?
Hold up, what are you getting at, Dohalim?
Assuming what I believe to be correct, it's possible that no one on Lenegis has ever laid eyes on the actual Renan homeworld itself.
But what about trade and communication? There's got to be a flow back and forth, surely.
Not if the Sovereign is imposing his will on Lenegis single-handedly. It could be a one-way street.
But I thought you said that the Sovereign's all the way over on Rena. If that's the case, can he really rule directly over Lenegis from so far away? What if something were to happen to the city, like now?
I'm beginning to wonder what the nature of this Sovereign even is. But Sovereign is also the title given to the almighty Renan ruler. So which one is it?
Whoever wins the crown contest inherits the throne from his or her predecessor, before becoming ruler over all of Rena and Lenegis. Thereafter, that individual is known as the Sovereign. As for how Volron factors into all this, at this point, I no longer know what to believe.
3 centuries ago, I became the Sovereign here on Lenegis. No, not just became, I was forced to. Me, a Danon. 300 years later, we cross paths with Volron, who also bears the Sovereign's crest. That's not the only thing we have in common. We both became Sovereign without winning the crown contest.
Do you think Volron was made Sovereign for the same reason? Because of that ceremony?
I can't say for sure, but it certainly sounds like it.
But that would mean that 2 Sovereigns would need to exist at any one time. One whose job it is to rule, and the other for ceremonial purposes. We never did see Volron's body back in Ganath Haros. Is a new ceremony underway with Volron at its center this time? Could that be what's causing all this strange activity here?
Wait a second. You don't think Volron and the Red Woman are working together, do you? The ceremony can't go forward without the Renis Alma. The same one that the Red Woman stole.
There's something else the ceremony needs. A maiden. And unless there's another one out there aside from me...
Questions, questions, and yet more questions. Ones that it seems will remain unanswered, until we can establish the Sovereign's identity.
If the Forbidden Zone really is off limits to everyone but the Sovereign, that seems as good a place as any to start. For the sake of liberating Dana, too.
Then it's decided. That's where we need to go.
One of the citizens mentioned a passage that she thought might lead to another section of the city. It could point us in the right direction. Let's go find it.
Então vamos lá. Ai, nossa, quanta conversa que eu quase cochilei aqui, velho. Sem zoeira. Tá, vamos salvar aqui. É meia hora de balela, mano. 40 minutos praticamente. Tem mais conversa ainda, meu Deus.
I didn't realize Renans oppressed their own kind, too.
And yet, weirdly, none of them seem to mind. Am I the only one who finds that strange?
It is the way things have always been, so no one thinks to question it.
Unquestioning acceptance of your own servitude. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Even so, the quality of life here seems much higher than any Danon city we visited. I used to think it was impossible to build an ideal society without wealth. But I suppose having it doesn't always mean people are treated fairly either.
More to the point, not a single citizen seems to have even heard of the Red Woman.
What if she's not here? What if it turns out we're looking in the wrong place entirely?
It's still too early to say anything for sure.
For all we know, she might be able to blend in, move around unnoticed. I say we hold off judgment until we've exhausted every avenue.
Tell me, Dohalim, has that skill of yours got a name?
And what skill would this be, pray tell?
You know, when you're talking to people around town. The way they suddenly become putty in your hands.
I'm afraid I don't quite follow.
I do. It's called friendly intimidation. Look imposing and speak in a deep, booming voice, and presto, you'll have people wrapped around your finger in no time.
I would never stoop to such scandalous tricks. Any feelings of intimidation are solely in the eye of the beholder.
So there is a knack to it! How do you learn it? Can anyone do it?
Now you've got me curious. Is there special training to master?
Let's see. An obsession with being elegant is a must. Oh, and it helps to be old-fashioned, too.
If you've a bone to pick with me, it'd be quicker to just come out and say it.
What? They look up to you, that's all.
But hey! What's got into Alvin and Law all of a sudden?
I can barely understand a word they're saying. And what's with the weird poses? Was it something they ate?
I hope you're willing to take the blame for this one.
I wasn't expecting them to take me so seriously. I'll go and have a word with them.
É, finalmente, né? Mano, quanta conversa, velho. Tá, a gente tem que ir pra lá, né? Encontra a entrada para a zona proibida. Então, bora.
With nobody left to run the show, I wonder what the people here are I mean, there's sovereigns up on the Renan homeworld.
But Dohalim was
Only current.
Even if the other...
I wonder what the Balsif, Ganon, now that I think of it. Aside from Dohalim, we know next to...
Well, yeah, why to us Danans, they were just enemies we needed to overthrow.
I know. But seeing Renans in their own city, going about their day-to-day lives?
It feels strange to imagine the Lords living here too, you mean?
Yeah.
If you're that curious about them, why not try inquiring with some of the locals? Every lord in their household has their share of supporters here on Lenegis. And luckily for us, the people here are unaware of the events on Dana, which means they should be more inclined to talk to us.
Iniciar missão, Renanos e seus lords. Eita, lá vou eu, né? Falar com um monte de gente. Vai ser um vídeo inteirinho só de conversa. Você quer saber qual Lorde eu apoio? Por quê? Você está agariando apoio para alguém? Sim, sirvo a sua excelência Erwosei Teudilis. Provavelmente você o conhece melhor como Lord Balzep, o primeiro. Sei que muitos o consideram brutamontes impiedoso. Acredite, conheço o lado agressivo dele. O que as pessoas não percebem é o cuidado que ele tem com todo o seu clã. É justo dizer que a casa Teudilis não goza de muita estima. Nós que servimos somos os primeiros a admitir isso. Mas Sua Excelência sempre nos defendeu de qualquer perigo. Nisso nós podemos confiar. O esforço dele no torneio de sucessão não é só pela família dele, mas para melhorar a posição de cada membro do clã. Devo muito à sua excelência. Eu jamais poderia sonhar em servir outro Lorde. Interessante.
Balsef had it in him to care about someone other than himself? Really?
It's possible. A change in position can do much to alter one's perspective.
So even he might have had something he wanted to protect.
E essa aqui. Lorde Dolarim, o senhor voltou. Ah, eu vejo que trouxe ajudantes com você. O senhor se lembra de mim, meu Lorde? Claro que sim, certo? Além de apoiar a casa Iquaras, eu apoio especificamente sua excelência. Tanto que venho tentando compartilhar meu apreço por sua excelência com qualquer pessoa que queira ouvir. Na verdade, eu pretendia publicar minhas extensas anotações sobre o assunto neste pequeno terminal para leitura e desfrute de todos. Mas não consigo fazer o upload desde que cortaram as linhas por causa do tumulto. Já sei, já que todos vocês estão aqui, vou ler em voz alta. Havia um homem muito bonito que emanava beleza, e cada palavra em sua boca, cada sílaba soava como poesia divina. Ele vem da famosa casa Iquaras, e seu nome é Lord Dolarim. Tem profundo amor pelas artes, mas sua paixão é a música. Não é possível comparar os tipos toscos e inúteis desta terra com a sua magnificência. E que postura refinada, majestosa, nossa, só de pensar já fico extasiada. Quando ele for nosso soberano, Rena florescerá como nova, conduzindo todos a uma era de prosperidade para nossa grande civilização. Até esse dia chegar, estarei para sempre em oração por sua vitória, de manhã, à tarde e à noite. Então, my lord, gostou? Despejei meu coração nessas palavras para capturar sua essência. Espera, eu esqueci de mencionar uma coisa sobre o amor dele por coleções. Preciso aproveitar enquanto as linhas estão cortadas para corrigir este erro. Só então minha obra-prima estará completa. Eu declarou para ele.
I guess she intended to spread it throughout all of Lenegis then.
Good thing the lines were down so she couldn't.
It almost sounded like she was praising them too.
Maybe there was more to the guy than at first glance.
I shall refrain from commenting.
Ora, não creio em pensar que alguém tentaria me afastar da casa Valkyries. O que você quer? Não vai me dizer que trabalha para o Lord Dolarim ou para aquela nojenta Lady Almeidreia trabalha? Não, nossa, não me assuste assim. Respondendo à sua pergunta, sou de uma família que serve a casa Valkyries há gerações. Certamente estou fazendo o possível para ajudar o Lord Ganabelt nos bastidores, para que ele alcance a vitória. Muitos o consideram um homem cruel, mas eu insisto, estão todos redondamente enganados. Não nego que ele seja rígido, mas ele coloca os interesses de Rena acima de tudo como ninguém. Ora, ele defende a expansão dos nossos horizontes pela colonização de Dana, em vez de ficarmos confinados em Lenegis. Assim, nos tornaremos mestres dos dois mundos e deixaremos de ter status secundário na superfície de Dana. É por isso que ele quer ser próximo soberano. A ambição maior, mais nobre do que essa? Acho que não. É a busca pelo poder em nome do avanço da nossa espécie e o que o torna um Lorde exemplar, um modelo a ser seguido. Não tive a honra de acompanhá-lo, mas meus dois filhos foram abençoados pela oportunidade de segui-lo na superfície. Como pai, fico inebriado de orgulho. Se ele soubesse que a gente matou esse cara.
Ganabelt was so horrible to people, yet he was invested in helping Rena succeed. Doesn't that seem just a little inconsistent?
I'm perhaps biased in this matter, I admit. However, in my mind, while all lords vie to become the next sovereign, they're also meant to serve as guardians of all of Rena.
It seems like Ganabelt also had people he cared about until the very end.
So why couldn't he extend that to us Danans?
Só isso? Não tem? Fale com pessoas. Não, aqui não tem mais gente. Então é pra cá então. Deve ter mais uma parte da cidade aqui, eu acho. Então vamos lá. Espero eu que tenha, né? Interessante.
this area doesn't look as badly damaged as that other district we went through.
Indeed. The effects of Lenegis' transformation appear to be less pronounced here. Or, viewed another way, this area was simply luckier.
Essa daqui deve ser do...
Pardon me.
Opa, desculpa, o microfone estava mudo aqui. Esta área está sob jurisdição única e exclusiva da Casa Lenegis. Peço que saia imediatamente. Você certamente não está dizendo que desconhece nossa famosa casa, comandada pela prestigiada Lady Almeida. Se estiver, peço que ouça muito bem. Na verdade, ordeno que escute com extrema atenção. Já percebeu como na história de Lenegis poucas senhoras participaram do torneio de sucessão? Há algumas teorias a respeito disso, mas a Lady Almeida acabou com qualquer dúvida desse pessoal do contra com o mais poder. Aliás, além de usurpar o trono do próprio pai e ex-mestre da família, ela também eliminou a concorrência de seu irmão mais velho ao trono. Nada pode deter essa mulher quando ela quer alguma coisa, e os inimigos não conseguem achar nenhuma brecha para atacar. Sem dúvida, Lady Almeida é uma mulher talentosa. Ninguém em Rena representa mais as virtudes da meritocracia de nossa nação. Em breve chegará a era em que uma soberana gloriosa reinará finalmente sobre Lenegis e todos nós. Também já foi de base.
I guess her willingness to stoop to any low came from a survival of the fittest worldview.
And some people here not only shared her belief, but championed it as morally right too.
That doesn't make it true. Too bad they couldn't see through her.
Yeah.
Então temos esse tiozinho aqui. Desprezível. Eu estava lendo sobre Voran. Posso ajudar? Sempre fui um apoiador fervoroso do Lord Uragil Ildris. Se ele não tivesse morrido de repente na superfície, eu ainda seria. Na minha opinião, o Lord Uragil é o verdadeiro Lorde da Água. Não consigo acreditar que ele morreu em um acidente como dizem. Nem venha me perguntar sobre como Voran comanda Ganat Harrow. Eu soube que ele escraviza danianos até seus companheiros renanos. Talvez a gente viva em uma sociedade na qual o vitorioso fica com todo o espólio, mas as ações dele vão contra os princípios do nosso povo. Além disso, de qual linhagem é essa casa Igniseg aí afinal? Nunca ouvi falar até que apareceu, ou seja, eles devem fazer parte do que há de pior na sociedade. Nunca antes da história uma linhagem tão ignóbil produziu um artista astral capaz de ascender à posição mais alta. Nada disso faz sentido, isso sem falar em todo o tumulto que vem acontecendo. O que está acontecendo com o nosso povo?
It seems like the people on Lenegis don't really know much about Volron either.
I remember being quite surprised when the Lord of Ganeth Harrows changed so abruptly.
Didn't you have any doubts that something suspicious was going on?
On the contrary. Remember, we Renans are raised to accept everything at face value.
When you think about it, the families of Renan lords must see them differently than the rest of us.
Yeah, despite the brutality they're known for.
They must have had a lot on their shoulders, carrying all the weight and responsibilities of Renan society.
Renans live in a world where strength and power determine their position in the social hierarchy, but their loyalty to their people is also strong. It's what brings them together against outside forces.
That's what makes them the guardians of all of Rena, so to speak.
Right. It's the same reason Balsif hated my guts, and Ganabelt went after you. Because we're threats to Rena.
Guess that makes you an even bigger oddball than we thought.
So, Alphen, have you gained anything from all of this?
Yeah. I think it's made me realize that the lords were all people, too. Balsif and the others, they all had their own circumstances to deal with as they went through life.
Yeah, but still, just because they had loved ones in their lives
I know. What they did was horrible. I'm not trying to dispute that. But at the same time, they weren't incomprehensible monsters either. So I guess what I'm trying to say is...
You're saying that they weren't bad because they were Renans, or because they were terrible monsters. Even if they did terrible things, they were still just people.
Renwell.
Am I wrong?
Not at all.
Being a Danon doesn't make you a good person. And being a Renan doesn't make you a bad one. I think that's something we've all seen.
Shion and Dohalim definitely make a good case for it.
And I'm going to keep doing my best to make sure I earn that trust.
Missão cumprida. 2200 de PH. Vamos lá. Tem um item aqui no canto. Goma de uva.
There's something I just don't get.
What is it?
The crown contest itself has always gone ahead as planned, right? In which case, the current sovereign of Rena should be whoever it was that won the previous contest.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, who was it then?
Hanfried Milgras, the former lord of Cislodia, if memory serves.
So then this Hanfried whatchamacallem, he's the current ruler of Rena?
The last I heard, yes. Though, admittedly, I haven't actually seen him since the end of the previous contest.
You're saying that ever since becoming sovereign, he's never actually shown himself on Lenegis?
I guess over holocom maybe, but not in the flesh. Same thing goes for the sovereign that came before him.
Now that you mention it, I don't recall anyone ever visiting Lenegis from the motherland, sovereign or otherwise.
And that never struck you as a little bit...
When you live here, it's as if you're conditioned not to notice all these strange quirks and discrepancies. The question is then, by whom?
A new Renis Alma is supposedly created to coincide with every crown contest, meaning each victor is awarded their very own. In other words, if that's true, there should be as many of the things out there as there have been contests.
True, but going on what we witnessed in Pelagian, it didn't look like the sort of thing that could be made to order. But if even the victor's speeches have been part of some grand deception, then where are they? Quite frankly, I'm not even sure what to believe in.
You and me both. Though we are Renin by blood, neither of us even knew that such a thing as a Dark Master Core exists.
With any luck, the Forbidden Zone might give us some answers.
No use standing around here chatting about it then. Let's get a move on.
Então tá, né? Então vamos lá. Tô curioso pra saber quem que a gente vai encontrar aqui. Quem que é o Lorde?
Doe?
Faria.
Varia? Isn't that the person that Avakir guy was...
But why are you here? Wait. Don't tell me you've given up on the crown contest and come crawling back home from Dana already. Nothing to say? Even though you were willing to kill Tarnigan to secure your position as Lord, you still...
Kill?
I'm here to take care of something. If you wish to continue this conversation, I only ask that you wait until I'm finished.
Oh, of course. You always did prefer to take the coward's way out. Even after 7 years and living on that Danon rock, you haven't changed one bit. But let me tell you, I haven't changed either. Not a day's gone by the past 7 years that I haven't hated you.
If killing me will bring you peace, then so be it.
Dohalim, what the hell are you saying?
First, I have business to take care of. If it's vengeance you seek, I will grant you it. But you must wait. My sins are legion. Let me finish what I came to do. Then you have my word. I will let you do whatever brings you peace.
Caramba.
Sure, that's it. Run away like always. You don't even have the courage to die. No wonder you leave it to someone else. You're just a coward!
Eita porra. E aí? Ixi, Maria.
Dohalim.
I apologize that you had to witness that.
Is it true? What she said about you killing someone?
Each of us have our pasts. I am no exception.
Before, back in Menancia, you mentioned having taken a friend's life over the throne. Is that what she meant?
The mistakes I made there were not my first, and may not be my last. I will say no more.
Did you mean what you said? About letting her take your life if she wanted to?
She has more right to my life than anyone.
But you can't just...
Whatever happens, I have sworn to put an end to the crown contest, and to ensure continued coexistence in Menancia. I have no intention of expiring before I do so. There are far too many questions I still seek answers to. Besides, you have just as much reason to kill me as she does.
Dohalim!
Forgive me. Some things are best left unsaid.
Tá certo, e a mina de vermelho apareceu lá, hein, cara. Rapaz. Quem é ela, velho? Tô muito curioso pra saber quem que é ela. Goma de laranja. Eu não tenho muito o que fazer, não tenho. Deixa aqui, aqui depois eu passo aqui e pego, né? Caramba. Zona do Parque Civil. Mano, a arquitetura desse jogo é sensacional, cara. Muito da hora aquilo ali. Provavelmente aquilo ali não tem física, né? Então se por um acaso alguém conseguir colocar o personagem ali, ele não vai cair. Mas que é impressionante é, né? Vamos ver o que é isso aqui. Que é aquilo ali? Nossa, o bicho tá... Essa apagação de fogo de vocês aí, pelo amor de Deus, hein? Pegar os detalhes, tá ligado? Os detalhes da parede. Sou bem entusiasta pra esse tipo de coisa, tá ligado?
Wow, this place is beautiful.
Yeah, it must be some sort of rest and leisure area for the locals.
You think? Man, these Renans sure know how to live it up, don't they?
Is something the matter, Dohalim?
Before I went down to Dana, my friends and I, we used to gather at this very spot and play music together. Avakir, Faria, and Tarnigan. That was a lifetime ago now.
Tarnigan. He was the one that Faria mentioned, right?
He was once my dearest, closest friend. As well as Faria's betrothed. Despite Faria's lower-class upbringing, she possesses a tremendous talent for music. Entranced by her playing, I helped her overcome her sense of inferiority and introduced her to Tarnigan and Avakir. It was a time of great joy. 4 people bound only by their love of music, with no care for social standing. Only the next song, the next melody.
A friendship based on mutual respect, and a society where everyone is a prisoner to their social class. You really are different, Dohalim.
I suppose it's natural you would see it as strange.
I would have, once. Now, I think the idea of breaking away from society's constraints and choosing your friends based solely on affection is something beautiful that's worth cherishing. Besides, it was that way of looking at the world that laid the foundations for coexistence in Menancia.
Your praise does me too great an honor. I was merely following the wishes of my own heart. And even then, it only lasted until the crown contest began. After that, Tarnagin and I became fierce competitors for the position of Lord. Tarnagin had fallen for Faria. By becoming Lord, he aimed to wrest her from her humble origins and raise her to the highest echelons of society. But fate was not so benevolent.
What happened?
Tarnagin was no match for me in combat. On a level playing field, he wouldn't have stood a chance. But he was desperate and low on options, and he couldn't stand the thought of defeat.
You mean he resorted to dirty tactics to try to win, right? But then why does Faria think... Wait, don't tell me she doesn't know.
How could I tell her? Combined with the trauma of losing her beloved, and by her friend's hand, no less. She would have been devastated.
So instead you let her go on hating you, so she could use that hate as a crutch for her grief?
That's not the same as running away, though.
It is exactly the same. Unable to face the loss of my friend and the burden of my duty. Instead, I decried my fate and looked away from what I'd done. As for what happened after, that you already know.
But if you hadn't become Lord, Menancia wouldn't be what it is now. The Danans there would still be suffering under Renan oppression like before.
Shion's right. What other lord would have treated me as you did? Anyone else and I would have been dead long ago. You've saved so many people, Dohalim. You saved me. It's thanks to you that I'm here today. So, try not to blame yourself. The burden you've placed on your own shoulders is too much for anyone to bear.
Frank as always. But I shall do my best to heed your advice.
Do you think he'll be all right?
Yeah, I think so. He's got Kisara.
It's important to have someone like that.
I didn't realize how difficult it is just to be there for someone.
Sometimes just knowing someone's on your side can be enough. And he knows, Shion. I promise he does.
I hope you're right. Alphen.
Yeah?
I never appreciated until recently just how much you were always there to support me.
It goes both ways.
Então vamos lá, né?
You've helped me keep going more times than I can count.
Maybe, but I still wanted to say thank you.
Algum item aqui? Acho que não, né?
I see a medic and supply officer over there. If they know you're with me, they'll likely offer
Vamos ver se tem alguma coisa pra vender aqui. O rancho, né? Criar animais. Porco, coelho. Ovelha. Cavalo. Galinha. E o porco. Beleza. Itens. Vamos ver o que ele tem pra vender aqui. Goma. Tem as gomas normais, né? Bom, aparentemente não tem goma nova. A goma de uva aqui, ó. A goma de uva apareceu. Abacaxi e a guloseima. Materiais nada, arma nada, armadura apareceu. Cota de diamante. Pra ela aumenta, pra ele aumenta, pra ela diminui e pra ele diminui. Então eu vou comprar pra ele só. Vou comprar por Rinrel. E só. Não vende muita coisa não. Forjar armas. Gladio Renano. Olha, dá pra gente fazer, mano. Ó. Aí sim, hein? Gostei. Escopeta Renana. Preciso de juba sombria. A do seu Renano. Eu preciso de osso de megafauna. História Renana. Juba sombria. Sexto Renano. Ó, dá pra fazer também. Gala de louva a Deus, né? E os culto Renano. Dá pra fazer também. Interessante. Então vamos fazer a do Alfen. Vamos fazer a do LOL. E vamos fazer a dela aqui, né? Beleza. Acho que só, né? Deixa eu mudar o design aqui. Gladio Renano. Cadê o dele? Caestus Renano. E o escudo. Caramba, que escudão, hein? É louco. Vamos lá, né? Ah, tem um bagulho pra dormir aqui. Que a gente precisa, né? Tá tudo cheio. Não, não tá não. Descansar. Salsicha. Porco coelho. Cogumelos. Curry. Vou fazer nhoque.
It's finished. Hopefully the others like it.
That's your 12th? Damn, that's gotta be...
Even seeing it for myself, I can hardly believe it.
Oh, have you guys already had enough?
No, we're just amazed. Doesn't it hurt?
Oh, this is...
I'm pretty sure that...
Plus, this is...
I swear.
Bom, eu vou fazer o seguinte, rapaziada. Deu 1h12 de vídeo. Não tivemos batalha nenhuma, foi muita conversa. Mas assim, deu pra gente entender mais ou menos como que é a história aqui de Rena, né? E como é que tá funcionando a história do game, né? Enfim, eu vou finalizar o vídeo por aqui. Espero que vocês tenham gostado. Não foi um vídeo tão interessante. Mas isso aí, eu vou terminar aqui, porque pelo visto a gente vai entrar numa dungeon, né? E aí provavelmente vai ser uma dungeon muito longa. Então é isso aí, se vocês puderem se inscrever no canal aí, deixar um like, eu agradeço pra caramba. E aí a gente continua desse ponto aqui, beleza, rapaziada? Então é isso aí, a gente se vê nos próximos vídeos, valeu e fui!